Welcome to another episode of Creating Cultures that Outperform with Terri and Frank. Today, we have a really good episode on the dangers of prejudging others. This is just so important. I really appreciate you coming in and joining us today. I'm Frank Warner. I'm the founder of People Productive. We help companies create cultures where the time, talent, and energy of the people is used most effectively so the people and company thrive together. Ter?
Hello, I'm Terry Mays. I'm a certified culture engineer with emphasis on helping companies bring out the best in their people.
Yeah, so every week we cover one human factor of leadership. There's so many, and we try to make it interesting by giving you a video. We share something for you to look at, and then we talk about it. It's a great series. It'd be wonderful if you would just follow People Productive. You'd be automatically invited to all of them. Other than that, there are a lot of episodes we've done already. You can find them on our People Productive page on LinkedIn. So Tara, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yes, I just introduced
Yes, what am I
myself. I
saying?
don't
You
know if
did.
you heard that.
Yeah. Hey, good one. So don't prejudge me for doing that, please. Do
We're having fun
So
already.
so we have a good video. Basically what you're gonna see is a group of people are going to go to the movies. They're gonna come to a theater. There's a rough-looking audience, and you'll see what happens when they walk in. And it's really fun because it is real life. And actually, you can walk into a meeting, you can walk into the office for the first day. You're going to run into all kinds of people. This is very pertinent, and it has an awful lot to do with not prejudging folks. But let's get right into it. Okay, I think that is great, and it says a lot. So, this is can be an intimidating situation for some people, obviously. But you don't want to prejudge people. That's the message here completely. And we're talking about work. This is real life. We're talking about work too. And I don't know, Tara, what do you think?
Yeah, I think this is a perfect example of what happens every day, just in everyday situations. When
Oh
you're
yeah.
going to the store, when you're, out in public places, people automatically look at you and then they assume something about you, make a judgment based on how you're dressed, how you have your hair, what kind of makeup you have on, any number of things that will cause people to make those snap judgments. But what I love about this commercial is those people that were brave enough to give it a try and not just judge that the crowd was going to be hard and go ahead and just give them a chance. Give the people a chance to prove themselves innocent or guilty instead of automatically assuming it was going to be a bad situation. They ended up being celebrated at the end. And I think that's very powerful, especially for this climate and society that we're in now, where people just have such strong opinions about everything. You've got all different sides and angles of every conversation when it comes to vaccines and politics. And so
Yep.
to be able to look past what people's outside appearance looks like. To get to know the people is huge. And that translates so well in the workplace.
Yeah. Hey, and a shout out to Dan for 2 good comments. Yes, that is awesome. I mean, this is something that people should be aware of. They should try to understand what their biases are, quite honestly. Everybody's got them. You know, you don't wanna prejudge people and make a snap decision. I loved how those people were rewarded for actually sitting down. I mean, it is a movie theater after all. We're not talking about a dark alley somewhere
Right.
where,
Right.
hey, maybe I wouldn't go into the dark alley, let's face it, but this is a movie theater. Come on. A bunch
Yeah.
of people, there's obviously some group event going on. They're there. There are 2 seats. You got the tickets, so check it out. I
Right.
love the reward at the end. I think it's fantastic. I do think, there's a lesson on both sides of this, right? They should certainly be willing to, go into the theater, take the seat. They're way too afraid, honestly. But there's also the notion of, was that group in the theater welcoming? You
Right.
wouldn't wanna have somebody come onto the job for the first day and everybody's just not smiling at you, making you feel unwelcome. And, you gotta do both, right? You wanna be welcoming to the people, and you certainly don't wanna prejudge anybody, especially in the workplace, in life, in the supermarket, wherever you are. I think that, be open-minded. There are just a lot of good people. Don't judge a book by its cover. I mean, if there's
Absolutely.
ever a comment that rang true, that's one that rings true here. You know?
Absolutely. It was really pretty interesting to watch people, and you could see their thought process. So they'd come in and stop, and then some of them would make their way up the stairs. Some of them would get as far as up the stairs and go back down the stairs. It was a real internal
Yeah.
struggle happening that we could see in the people. There were some people that came in and just turned around and went right back out, like they never even tried the stairs. But then there are other people that were just brave. They really did decide that I'm not going to judge this group of people. And something really magical happens when you give people a chance and when you don't assume things about people just based on their skin tone, their
Mhm.
race, their
Your
gender,
dress.
whatever it is. If you just get past all of that and let people be people and let them show you who they are, you get to see something really beautiful. And so this happens in the workplace all the time. We have opportunities to judge people, and it's so important to give people a chance. Let people prove to you who they really are. People will show you. You don't have to really judge and make decisions about people when you first meet them. Give people time. Every single time a person will show you who they are, and just give them the opportunity to do
Mhm.
that.
And, over the years, I'm sure you've seen so many different snap judgments or heard people make comments. "Oh, I think that guy's a fool. He looks like a fool."
Yeah,
"Oh, what a nerd. Look at the way they're dressed." That person looks really bright. Actually, they've done studies on, what judgments make about people, and they assume that people who are good looking are automatically smarter, and there's interesting things that there's these unconscious biases that everybody has. People automatically assume that somebody who's like them is better. Somebody who has interests similar to them is a better person. They're just different. Doesn't mean that they're better or worse. It just means they're a unique individual. You got to get to know them.
right,
Um, and people, if they've had a run in with somebody that was negative, if somebody like that person shows up, they just transfer that experience to that individual right away. They carry it over, and, humans are wired that way. So I think this is important to think about judgments you're making.
yeah,
Catch yourself, think about it. Where are they coming from? And, there is a real danger in prejudging people because 'cause you're gonna miss out on that beauty, you're not gonna get to know the whole person. Um, that's really what this is about, and in this world we live in, it is a talent game. Talent comes in many forms and packages. You're gonna wanna really be open to everybody because the best person might be one you're not immediately attracted to or you have no affinity for.
right. And people have different skill sets that they bring to the table. So just because I may not be the most eloquent speaker, for example, or if I may not be the greatest at, let's say, marketing or planning, but there are things that I'm really good at. So take the time to get to know people and find out what they're really good at. then you can both help each other. So areas where I'm not so strong, someone else can be strong for me and I can
Mhm.
be strong for them. But you'll never find that out if you don't take the time to get to know people and get past what you automatically assume about that person. So, Marcelo, will you give us the key takeaways?
Yeah, key takeaways. Thanks for bringing that up, Tara. I thought these were excellent. Thank you.
Yes. So this is all about the dangers of prejudging. If you judge a book by its cover, you might miss out on an amazing story. And that is so very
Hmm.
true with people and with books. So
Yeah.
take that in both ways. But it's so important to give people an opportunity to show you who they are because there's really a story. I think that this quote is just beautiful. There's a
Mhm.
story behind every person. There's a reason that they are the way they are. So think about that before you judge them. You never know what people have been through in their
Mhm.
life, what kind of experiences they've had, what things they're dealing with right now. Everybody has something that they're dealing with every single day. Every one of us has something that we're juggling in our human, personal lives versus our work lives. There's always something that's happening. So make sure you're giving people the benefit of the doubt and accept people. So this first takeaway is really all about acceptance, accepting people for who they are, and don't make people have to do so many different things, jump through so many hoops in order for you to respect them. Respect that person right out the gate. It requires accepting people requires that. So don't let people feel like their differences, their culture, their
Mhm.
opinion, or whatever it might be, their age.
Mhm.
Don't make people feel like that's a difference that can't be overcome. Allow that difference to be something that you can learn from because we all have something to offer.
And
Which,
these are vibes, right? Respect is a
yeah,
vibe. Disrespect
yeah,
is a vibe. Even if you don't say anything, just your look and that energy given off, they're gonna feel it.
that absolutely. People are gonna feel it whether you say something or not. Your body language, remember your body language is doing most of the talking anyway. It's
Mhm.
90% of what people hear from us comes from our body language. It's only 10% of what you're actually saying that's being communicated to somebody. So they're looking at your body language, your facial expressions, how you're moving. All of that is a telltale sign so that people do get that vibe from you. So be that kind of person that accepts people, that accepts the differences and respects those differences as things to make us better and not things to separate us.
Mhm.
What you see on the outside is just one aspect of that person. There's so much more. Every person has so much more than you see on the outside. We all have those days where we're just not feeling it, or we may have other days where it's just the greatest day of our life. But don't just assume or judge that person based on that one particular day. And that happens so many times where you go into a restaurant and you get bad service and you just automatically discredit that restaurant and say, I'm never going back there again. I don't want to have this. Or, you end up just stopping what could be a really beautiful experience because of one event.
Yeah, and Cheryl, thanks for the comment. She says that is so
Yes,
true. And, yeah, it is. It is on the money. I mean, there's no
yes,
question. This is what happens
absolutely.
every day in so many different aspects of life.
Yes. So the biggest key of all is just to take the time to get to know people. They may really surprise you. Some of the people that have been most helpful to me are people that other people have said, this person is really mean. They are, hard to deal with or hard to get along with. And those are some of the people that I've gotten along with the best that have been the most helpful to me. So
Yeah,
you really just cannot look at a person from the outside and judge who they are from a character perspective.
I have had the exact same thing happen without question. Some people where I just felt something was a little off in the beginning. I just had to get to know them, and they turned out to be super.
Right. Because
Yeah.
all of us have our own quirks, right? So
Yeah.
we all have these little oddities about ourselves where everybody does something a little bit different.
Mhm.
We're all just weirdos walking around in this experience. So give people a break, like Cheryl said, give them a chance. Like
Good
give people
chance,
a
yeah.
chance. You will really be surprised. So your challenge this week is to think about some people that you may have prejudged and take some time to get to know them.
Yeah.
Spend some time, go on a coffee break or just take a walk outside, or even, in this climate that we're in now with COVID, get on a Teams meeting with them or just call them up on the phone. Really take some time to get to know that person that you have prejudged or thought, this person is mean, or I
Mhm.
don't want to work with this person because whatever that because is. Take some time to get to know that person, because people have a guard up, but they'll let that guard down if you take time to get to know them.
Yeah, and you can always be just completely upfront about it and say, "Hey, listen, I never had a chance to really get to know you. Would you like to hop on Zoom for 20 minutes?
Right.
Have a conversation?" People will say, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah.
People love talking about themselves, no doubt about
Absolutely.
it. And you'll get to know
Absolutely.
them, and you'll be surprised what you might find out.
Right.
Yeah,
And
build
you will run across, one or two that are just they're really not people. They're not interested in being social. And so respect that boundary. So
Mhm.
there's always going to be people like that that just are not social situations don't give them energy. They actually deplete them.
Yep,
So be aware of that and recognize that about people. But for the vast majority of people, like Frank said, that we love to talk about ourselves.
yeah,
You find that one thing, whether it's the kids or if it's the family, something about one of my favorite things is handbags.
yeah.
So anytime you talk to me about handbags, I got lots to say about that. But, just anything. It doesn't have to be something professional, just something that's not offensive. So think about anything that you might have in common with somebody and start a conversation from there.
Yep, and, Cheryl's thanking us for a great takeaway, and we
Thank you,
appreciate you
Cheryl.
being here, Cheryl, so thank you for coming and commenting, I think it's great.
Yes.
Um, for anybody watching, please follow People Productive on LinkedIn. You'll get automatically invited. We're here every Wednesday at 3 o'clock for another episode, one more human factor with a lesson for everybody. We bring up interesting videos. There's just so much to learn and so many great things out there and so many different ways that we can all contribute and make work and life better. So we appreciate you coming. I don't know, any final comments, Tara?
Yes. So Frank said it earlier, but don't judge a book by its cover. This taking the time to get to know people, this is really important. It really translates well in the business world, but also in your personal life. Take time to get to know people. Don't just assume or judge based on what you see or one interaction with that person. Allow people the benefit of the doubt to have a bad day.
Yeah, and I liked your comment, your quote better. "Don't judge a book by its cover because you might miss a great story." That is
Right?
really
That's a
that's a
great,
wonderful way to put it. I think that's just fantastic.
absolutely.
But anyway, hey, thanks for coming. We'll see you next week. Appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you. Bye
Bye.
for now.